What's up guys, my name is Splattercat, and today we're here at the Nerd Castle playing Expeditions Conquistador once again. I think we're on the back 9 though, so pretty soon we should be coming up on some kind of conclusion to the storyline. We found the lost Conquistador here, we've searched everything to the west, taken a look at the map. I know on the last episode I ended down here, but basically I just walked on back to here. We found the mysterious cave was the Fountain of Youth, so we've got ourselves a bunch of goodies with that regard. So back at our fortress now, we have completed both the stables and the market. And what that means is we can go to the market here, and we can acquire any of the goods that we need. But let's take a look and see what the flavor text is going to do for us first. So, the new trading post is modest, but it appears to be well stocked. You are met at the entrance by a middle-aged woman with long gray hair. Venerable Senor del Splatter, it is an honor to meet you in person. I am your humble servant, Maria Nunez Jimenez Agarido de Grijalva. God, that was a long name. Thank you for accepting this post, Senora de Grijalva. There we go. Senorita, please, I've never found the time to marry. Too much work to be done in the world. She chuckles and beckons you to come inside and inspect her wares. Have you managed to establish a trade route to Hispaniola? CC, our first ship from Santo Domingo moored safely at the harbor yesterday. We've sent a second order to Senor Diniz in Santiago de los Caballeros. We are well stocked with valuables, food, medicine, and equipment. Everything I imagined you would need on your travels. Thank you, Senorita. Your work here is very valuable to our expedition. And so now we have the opportunity to trade. So we'll take a look for the first time. It seems as though there are some extra valuables here, which is the first thing that I'm going to trade for. I'm going to grab, let's see, I could probably get away with having, getting rid of about 90 of them, I guess. So there we are. So that'll put me at 255, which is still a safe number of medicine and still gives me enough valuables to start our next construction project. So let's go over to the fort and decide what we want to do next. We can look for Miguel Sicart. Now, in the last episode, for those of you that don't remember, we found a ridiculous old stoner scholar in the middle of the forest who got us ridiculously high. He took us on a crazy salvia trip of some sort where we were seeing glowing polygons and basically passed out in our soup. So let's see what he's got going on. You ask around and find that Senor Sicart has arrived safely and has taken up lodging in one of the smaller rooms near the barracks. You find him there poring contentedly over some books brought by the servants from Spain. I'm glad to see you made it here safe and sound. Ah, Senor, Capitan, I love what you've done with the place. It was quite the bastion of paranoia and desperation under Gutierrez, let me tell you. Why will you not tell me anything about Gutierrez? I'm sorry, Senor. I have a lot of unpleasant memories from that time, and I feel like they are finally well and thoroughly repressed. There is no really useful knowledge in those stories anyways. I think you'll find out in due time. Okay, well, I don't really want him in my group. We already have to feed enough people, so I'm basically just going to exit out of that. Now, what I would like to do is actually leave people here to defend it in the future. Now, let's expand the fortress a little further, and we can do a barracks. The barracks would allow us to leave people here to guard. We can build a tavern, a chapel, or storerooms. The tavern and chapel increase morale. The storerooms allow us to leave stuff here so it can't get stolen. And the workshop, actually, what does it do? We can buy certain items for use in combat. So let's try that out and see what we get. So 1,500 valuables. It takes 7 days. We're not going to have to worry about it for right now. Let's go down and use our stable bonus. And we put our horse to pasture. The stable, for those of you that don't know or may have come in the middle, doubles our movement points for the day. So we're going to try and head back now. Let me take a look at my quest log and figure out what it is we're supposed to be doing first and foremost. We can kill Kitlali, which is the Aztec leader. I'm sorry, not the Aztec leader, the Amazon leader, the large woman of the forest who's running around with a spear just annihilating people. We can subjugate Papantla. We can raise the Aztec farms, so that's what we're going to do. Let's go raise the farms, then we'll go down and get Kitlali. I get the feeling we're probably going to make some people grumpy with this overall course of action. Let me take a look at my camping menu, though, and see. I think the two natives are going to be very, very angry about what we're about to do. But that's kind of the problem with picking a side, is you're at the beck and call of one or the other. I'm sure the Aztecs would have had us do equally terrible things, and I'm not trying to justify the annihilation we're about to instill on a bunch of innocent civilians, but really it seems like allying with either side means I'm going to have to do some pretty terrible things, so we'll live with the results as they come, but hopefully we'll be able to make it back on today's movement points to a suitable location and then bear south in order to get lined up with Tenochtitlan. I'm actually really liking the way in which the stable is working out for us. I think that was a really good choice for us to build that first, as it allows us to recover, and by recover I mean it allows us to get back into action very quickly after committing ourselves to war. Now let me take a look at a map and make sure I'm in the right area. This is Papantla, and we can come down into here and subjugate it. I'm not going to do that because that's actually doing the Aztecs' biddings. In fact, I'm just going to keep on moseying through, and then we'll deal with it in the future. We're actually going to head our way down to the Aztec farms and get into a fight there, first and foremost in this episode. I'm pretty impressed with the ground that we've covered. In fact, let me rotate the camera, and when we run out of movement points, I'd love to do a recap of just how far we've come from our fort in a single day. Ooh, that's too tempting. That is way too many herbs for me to walk away from. We should probably grab those in case we need them in the future. But let's take a look at our map. And yeah, we made it all the way from the fort over to here, almost half the distance required to get down to where we want to be. Now, I don't know if Cuautitlan is the place we're going to be sacking, or if it's going to be this little place over here that Coyotl is from. Either way, I see major problems coming down the pipe if we do it, but we'll see what happens when we get to it. There's no point fretting over spilled milk when we haven't even spilled it yet, so, or spilled blood, I suppose, is going to be the much better way to put it. And our tinkering, how is that going? Our tinkering is going reasonably well. We have enough stuff on hand to make some more cannonballs, though, so I think I'm going to take Barreto and assign him to do cannonballs, and the 2 doctors can sit and do herbalism since we just sold a lot of our supplies. Overnight, we got a cannonball and 14 meat from our hunters, so we're doing pretty well. I can try and chase the pig around. There we go, we got him. And so we got 19 meat from the piggy, and then it looks like the pig is going to take to the roads, and we're going to try and catch him as best as possible. Camera's trying to be a saboteur here right now. And then let me look at my map once more. Okay, we're just going to follow this and then take it to the south. Let me write my orientation right now so it's facing the same way as the map so that there's no possibility that I get off the beaten trail. These seem to be some particularly generous herbs growing on the road for us, not even trying to hide themselves from the Aztec DEA. But that's fine, that works out in our favor. And it looks like we're at the rest again. I should probably be getting off the road at night because we do get robbed a lot, which is disappointing. I forgot to cure the meat. Doesn't matter. We've got more food than we're going to need for a while anyways. Honestly, the medicine is the only thing that I'm concerned about replenishing at the moment. Not to say that I enjoy throwing things away, but honestly, not a huge deal. Let's see if this is the place that we were supposed to be sacking. And no, this is the place that was really sick, I think. It was actually out of commission. Everybody had like yellow fever or smallpox or something there. I don't remember the exact diagnosis, but it was not looking good for the people of that town. They were definitely looking worse for wear. Let's see if we can... Okay, here's the Aztec farms, I'm willing to bet. This might be... Yeah, let's see if we can get ourselves into trouble here. A fairly long area along the northbound road from Tenochtitlan has been cultivated into farmland. It doesn't look particularly fertile, but apparently it yields enough to cover most of the city's consumption. The farmers look tired and weary, yet they turn out to be friendly enough when approached. God, make me feel terrible for what's about to happen. And some of them offer to trade their surplus food and medicine for valuables if you need it. Well, unfortunately, guys, we're going to have to do this for Texcoco. Tiana pulls on your sleeve. Capitan, I understand the strategic advantage to raising the farms, but can we at least let these people go? They're just peasants. They're not even armed. Gabriela Ibarra laughs dryly. That's a little naive, don't you think? They're Aztecs, and they're going to run off to the nearest patrol and call them here to save their farms. No, we silence them now, and we don't have to deal with trained warriors a moment later. Juan Ortega grumbles, so what if they call some trained warriors? We don't have to slaughter civilians. We can hold our own against the Aztec fighters. Let's let the peasants go, and then we'll deal with the soldiers. I'm just not a fan of civilian casualties. War happens, and it always seems like the civilians suffer so much more during the whole thing, and so... just a weak spot in my little heart, my little normally black heart. And so your people form up and move into the small fish farming community, setting fire to the homes and firing their arquebuses in the air to scare away the peasants. The farmers scatter and tear and flee into the fields. The prices offered by Aztec merchants have worsened. The farms are ablaze and the fire is beginning to spread to the crops. A group of Aztec warriors arrive from the countryside led by an eagle warrior. We spot them coming and we regroup and prepare for the battle. So, let's grab who we can. And I actually need to get rid of that equipment on Trevino so he doesn't show up in my A-team. And also, I think I had the stuff going to... let's see here. Yeah, I actually had his gear being worn by my doctor to keep him safe. So let's make sure that the doctor is equipped well enough to be safe. We're going to equip his knife, make it a little better. I don't recall whether I had his gun buffed before or his knife, but if the ranged attack actually received a bonus from the percentage to hit, I would... consider putting more in there, but for now it only gets a damage bonus and his chance to hit is so low anyways that I'm not even going to stress about it. That being done, let's take Trevino or Alvarado. There we go. I've got the right group now. I swear I can get my roster together. I'm not this disorganized. I can get this all to work out in our favor. And let's see what fate and the Aztecs have in store for us here in this northern location where we're making a strategic attack against their farms to try to starve them out of the capital. we have a preparation phase. I am going to use it because we've got a wide kind of stretch of open field here, and I feel as though laying down a cannon is going to benefit us in the long run. Now our cannon, let's see, oh, we have to click there we go, I have to click this. The cannon's functional range is not so good. We're gonna have to wait until they're in this little region, but it is an AoE, so that's gonna be pretty sweet. For those of you that don't know what AoE means, I always like to cover my bases because I don't know if the same terminology is used everywhere. I don't know if everybody's had the benefit of playing MMOs, but AoE means area of effect. It means that it covers several hexes. It does a lot of damage, and I know most people are gonna know that, but I'll do the little informative recap for the people that may not, so that you don't feel lost or anything of that nature, because I want everybody on board for the ass kicking that we're about to let off. I'm wondering if they're all gonna stop just short. No, they're not. Because I saw that Eagle Warrior, he stopped his attack just short of our operative range of our cannon, which, you know, oh god, these guys are lining up for an ass whipping. This is gonna be amazing. We're actually gonna have a lot of these guys taken care of before they even get to us. Now, because it's an open field of combat, we are gonna have some trouble with the safety against ranged attacks, but for now I think we'll be alright. And there's the first little grip of damage. We actually have weapons that are putting us at a great advantage here. Accuracy is 51%. Now, statistically, I read a study. There was a guy who's a video gamer and also a statistician. He has a PhD, and he basically gave some tips and some rules for strategy gaming. And what he said is, mathematically, so long as you've got more than 30% of a chance to attack and hit, you should always take it. But if you have the opportunity to be below 30%, you should half your chance to hit and then fire twice because you have a better chance to hit that way. I didn't really go into the math of all of it, but assuming that he has a PhD and he teaches classes at a university here in the United States, I assume he's probably reputable and ran the numbers himself. Don't take my word for it. I'm sure you can Google it and find it somewhere. So here we're going to go with the first bout of melee. I am going to have everybody slaughter as much as they can for the time being. Juan Ortega's ready to close with the next group of natives, and it looks like I already used my scout's turn, which is a bit of a mistake, but we'll be alright. We'll actually have, let's see, who is this, Paulik? Okay, so Paulik and I believe that's Ortega are going to focus on this ranged guy, because right now I don't want ranged involved in the combat at all. We have a decent chance to hit him right there, and that's going to give us another casualty. Additionally, because we have so many materials that are available for our use, I am going to take this opportunity to close the field right there and fire again with the cannon, since we have people kind of locked up here. Now, he does have a buff of some sort, it looks like. I'm not really sure what it is, but we've more or less leveled the playing field. We do want to protect our cannon at all costs. The cannon does have its own HP. For those of you that have never seen the cannon be used, came into the series in the middle, we do have to protect it. If it gets destroyed, I have no idea how we replace it. So honestly, in that situation where I have irreplaceable goods, oh god, 38 damage, that's a good crit right there. Well struck. So what we'll do is we'll hope for a relentless. We didn't get one, unfortunately, but we are going to take as many melee attacks against these cats as we can. And so they are down. Coyotel's done a great job for us. And we're also going to line our doctor up right here. We're going to have him drop a nuke heal on this center member of our line. Additionally, I prefer to have Anna Vidal step out here and maybe get a little bit of damage done. I'm going to have her go around, though, so we can possibly get a flank going. Oh, and I said that right as I did something stupid, as always. And so she got Relentless and Bloodthirsty. Once again, I'm going to have her close ranks there. It's not going to let me use... Oh, no, I was trying to click him. God. Just the worst series of mistakes ever. I'm getting too excited right now. I'm having too much fun, and it's making me just misclick. I'm using a new mouse. I actually lost my really expensive gaming mouse. It broke on me. The little spring under the left click broke, and when I was disassembling it, for whatever reason, when Razer makes their mice, they use a weird bonding at the bottom of it, and it caused actually one of the clickers to split off. Admittedly, I may have put too much pressure on it, but, you know, what can you do? He's not going to be able to fire that turn, so we'll just pass and go on. They aren't going to focus on Vidal, surprisingly enough. If they had, they probably could have gotten a kill right there, but that's largely because I surrounded them, I suppose. So Coyotel, Vidal, and maybe Ortega are going to take their swings here. Actually, we'll have him fire right there, and perhaps we'll be able to finish the round with a little bit of melee here. I can't guarantee it. I don't really know how this is... Yeah, we got him. Fantastic. So we managed to round that whole thing off nicely. We managed to square the circle perfectly fine. And then we'll see what the outcome is. Even though the Aztecs are well-trained and equipped, you managed to outsmart them and lead your troops to victory. Well, the cannon helped out a lot. That was more of the silken glove and the iron gauntlet right there. And we tended to lean more in the iron gauntlet direction. But we scavenge what we can off the corpses and wagons. We bury people that were shot in the nearby woods, and make sure that nothing can be traced back to us. And so we did a little bit of anti-CSI work there. We got 21 rations, a piece of rope. We got whatever that is, metal. Okay, and then we got ourselves 120 valuables. Not a whole lot to be taken from that entire debacle, but it is better than nothing. Now, at this point, I don't really know if we should go hunt the Amazons. So we may want to go back to Zalapa and see how this whole thing goes until they send us further south. I don't really know where the Amazons are at, which means we're going to have to walk around a little bit. Oh, there it is, Amazon territory. I always thought that said Aztec territory. I must have read that wrong. My brain must have been doing some weird Freudian shit. So anyways, let's go ahead and we're going to cut to the southwest and see if we can land ourselves in Amazon territory. Just have an action-packed episode, and then in the next episode we'll walk back to Zalapa and see what else the people of Texcoco and the leaders there need from us. And so everything appears to be more or less in order. What I would like to do, though, is make sure Barreto is still making more cannonballs, because I do get the distinct feeling we're going to need them. The cannon is turning out to be a major boon in our favor. Now, I've never traveled down to Amazon territory, and admittedly, I'm a little bit shaky on how we're going to get there. We may have to weave our way around some of these mountains here. I'm not really sure how sheer of a movement I should make, although it's possible that I just tried to navigate this absolutely wrong the last time we came here. So let's see if going this way is going to take us too far west, and then taking a look at our alignment here, it's either going to be through this little path right here or through this one on the left. I'm going to try the one to the south first, and we can only hope that it works out in our favor. Now, everybody's more or less set to the tasks I'd like them to be doing. We get another cannonball, and we steal more people's equipment, as nice as that is of us to do. Wandering through the jungle here. We're right on top of the Amazon settlement, it looks like, but I'm unable to see it. And so I don't know if it's going to be over this way, maybe. Let's try this first and foremost and see if maybe there's a little inlet over here that's going to take me to Amazon territory. We're doing some exploration right now. We're being intrepid. We're being adventurous. We're playing our theme song while doing a montage, and hopefully we land in the right spot. It doesn't look like it, though. It looks like we've been led to a dead end, possibly. Let's see how far I've missed this by. Okay, so to the northeast. We'll go back. I should have known navigationally that I was kind of going in the wrong way. In either case, we've got loads of supplies, so it's not a big deal. We managed to confiscate 166 valuables that day. Our hunters didn't do so well, though, so we're going to lean on our supplies. That's fine, though, because honestly, aside from the beginning of the game where you start out with very limited supplies, I've noticed that the game honestly isn't that difficult. I said honestly there, but in all truth, there we go. I'm going to say it completely differently. You're not going to land yourself in any tricky situations with supplies unless you really mismanage yourself. So I don't really know where this place is at. I'm a wee bit confused here. It says that it should be in the middle of this canopy, but I'm wondering if it's a tad mislabeled possibly, or I'm just not seeing it. I don't see anything worth investigating. So let's continue to meander a tad and just wonder. There's a fire pit right here. What does that have to do with anything? Let me see if that's marked on the map. There's nothing on the fire pit. So I must have just completely gone to the wrong spot here. It must be in this little edge, this edge work right here possibly. And we found a watering hole. We're going to get 30 free meat from the watering hole. We've done that event many, many times. I'm going to orient the camera a little better and see if I can land somewhere closer to where... where is this thing? Interestingly enough, we're sitting right on top of it, so it's possible that it's just vaguely marked right here. That's the final thing that we haven't really validated. It may just be tentatively marked, like this is all Amazon territory. And so zooming back out, let's see if we can find anything with a floaty fleur-de-lis above it. And what is that right there? It's running from us, so I can assume that it's probably up to no good. You're moving through the jungle not far from the banks of the river when a strange call rings out from between the trees. You order your people to stop and listen for the sound to repeat. Instead, 7 women dressed in typical outfits of Aztec warriors step out soundlessly between the trees ahead and face you cautiously in a semicircle, bows at the ready. No word is uttered. We call upon our translator. You call your translator to the front. The women regard you warily. Well, the Amazons we know are against the Aztecs, so maybe we should try and ally with them. Let's try it out. We harbor no hostile intentions. The warrior, with the most decorations on her outfit, answers without lowering her bow. I almost said her brow. I am Kitlali, war chief of the warrior women of Tenochtitlan. Why do you come here clad in metal, pale ones? Let's see, warrior women. What is this? We are a tribe of warriors who live as nomads, moving our camp around the jungle to follow the ebb and flow of the wildlife. And your tribe includes no men. She simply nods once. I should very much like to learn about your people. She gestures towards your people without ever lowering her guard. Then we would very much like for you to lower your weapons. Alright, we'll lower our weapons. Your troops relax their guard and point their weapons elsewhere. Kitlali looks you dead in the eye and seems to appraise you for a moment and gestures for her warriors to do likewise. Good, you are the chief of this group. We call it Capitan, but yes, I'm El Gato del Splatter. She smiles, and it transforms her face completely. Her fierceness doesn't disappear, but it gives way to an honest sort of kindness. Join us in our camp. We will eat together and learn much from each other. Hopefully, I can keep all of my men's pants on. Tayana beams, what an extraordinary opportunity. It will be an honor, War Chief. Call me Kitlali. And so there it is. They have led us back to their location, and it was a tentative location. So if you're searching for it, we did find this camp earlier, but you got to find their little war group that's kind of wandering around, and then they'll lead you back here. Oh no, we ran out of energy right before we got back, and since it seems like we're going to have a lot of partying going on, we should probably get ourselves rested up for the eve ahead. So we'll have people hunt, we'll have people patrol, do our thing. We get 191 valuables, we get 20 rations, 4 meat, everything's looking good. The camp of the Amazons, as your people have taken to calling them, demonstrates a surprising knowledge of classical history, and looks like a perfectly ordinary Aztec hunting camp and would raise no eyebrows if not for its complete lack of men. Kitlali puts a hand on your shoulder, an unusual gesture which receives a few odd looks from the troops. Come, El Gato, join us around the campfire. We join them around the fire, and we circle around the central fire while your people settle on the outskirts of the camp. Our sorority came to be. God, I swear I can read today. I'm just exhausted. It's been the longest day ever, but our sorority came to be when a law was passed in the city of Tenochtitlan that forbade women from participating in combat. Many of the women who served in the defense of the kingdom chose to leave the city and form their own community. We hunt to sell the pelts and meat at the market of Tlatelolco. Okay, I can say it. It's got a lot of L's in it, but we can get through it. Just la 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 la. We can make it. If what you wanted was to defend the city, why did you leave? Defending our city and our families was our original goal, but in doing so we formed lasting friendships. We came to be respected by those men who fought at our side, and we learned to supply ourselves and our loved ones. It's difficult to ascertain through the interpretation, but you sense Kitlali is addressing you in quite a friendly and informal manner. So, how do the rulers of the city feel about that? Tenochtitlan does not approve of our presence so near the city, but we visit their markets dressed in peasants' clothes, and they're none the wiser. So now you shun all contact with men. She leans in a little bit, enough that you can feel the warmth of her breath on your face. We do not permit men into our sorority, that is true, but there are men who we consider allies, and more. Put our hand on hers, sure. My wife's here. I'm about to get myself into trouble, I would think, but perhaps you would like to join us on our hunting trip tonight. It would be an honor. Your trip takes several hours, but Kitlali does not appear particularly impressed with your hunting skills. The important thing, however, is that you managed to pick up a few good tricks from the Amazons that will serve you well in your nightly hunting trips in the future. It's getting dark as you return to the Amazon camp. You should find a place to set up a camp of your own. We thank her for allowing us to join her, and we move on. I enjoyed hunting with you, El Gato. Tell me, will you and your people do us the honor of spending the night with us here at the camp? The tone of her voice is sweeter than honey. Yikes. Well, yeah, sure. Let's see what happens. So, female followers gain morale. The male followers gain morale. You and your expedition join the Amazons for a dinner feast, and as the evening wears on, the worries of surviving in the jungle drain from your people, and everybody is able to relax and enjoy themselves. Many of the men in your expedition at some point try their luck with the warrior women, but most advances are more or less politely rejected. When it's time to retire for the night, Kitlali invites you to join in her tent. You glance at Tayana, who's chatting with one of the Amazons well out of earshot. I'm going to save myself I'm going to save some face here, and instead of just womanizing like crazy, I'll graciously decline. You politely reject her advances and return to your own tent with Tayana. Your wife must have noticed that you turned down, or what you turned down to be with her, because her passion seems bolstered beyond usual. The next morning, as you prepare to move on, you notice the amusement that many of your expedition members spent the night in tents other than their own. And Kitlali, may I speak with you in private? Of course, my friend. You try to get Kitlali away from her Amazon sisters, but she will not follow you outside the perimeter of her camp where her sisters can still see you. I have been approached by the high priest of Tenochtitlan. You could tell from her facial expression that her heart is sinking. The task he asked me to perform, I don't intend to carry it out, rest assured of that. He asked me to kill you. Her reaction is complex and hard to read. I'm not surprised to learn that Momozli is actively trying to get me killed. I must admit, however, I'm shocked that he would approach you to do it. What is your plan? I must borrow your talisman. She takes a step away from you. Out of the question. I need it to trick Mamotsli so that he will leave you alone. I cannot allow it. The talisman carries significance within our tribe that you will never understand. To part with it, even to a friend, would be unheard of. You must find another way. Well, then let's go kill Mamotsli. Kitlali listens solemnly to your plan. If you can convince the High Priest that you've done what he asked, you may be able to isolate him from his subordinates and guards and then eliminate him without any witnesses. If you pull it off, nobody in Tenoctilan will ever know who's to blame. Once you've explained how you'll go about it, Kitlali offers you the talisman on her own on one condition. Swear to me on your strange god that you will bring my talisman back to me when the deed is done, along with Mamotsli's headpiece. Swear it, Elgato. And so we swear on our father's name that we will do that. And let's see what we can trade. I mean, we have extra medicines once again. They have a low supply, so that puts us in a good spot for bargaining. And what we'll do is we'll trade out about 90. Well, we could trade 101. That'll put us perfectly at 250. We could always use more treasure. That's always what I prefer, is to have treasure so we could upgrade our fort and make it super awesome. Just a crazy pad like we did with the Saints Row Tower. I almost did a Saints Row 3 LP, but I didn't know how interested people would be. I know that a lot of you guys play a lot of strategy games, things of that nature, and I think that's really the tone that has come across on the channel. A lot of sandbox gaming and so forth. And honestly, I just didn't feel like Saints Row would lend itself very well to an LP just because there's so much side stuff to do. But in any case, we've gotten ourselves lined up for what we're going to do in the next episode. I think that leaves us in a great spot to break off and say farewell. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me here in the Nerd Castle. I hope you'll choose to come next time, and I will see you there. Take care, everybody.